Well, hello there. Welcome to Running Otaku. I am the Running Otaku. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about racing with a power meter. You see, tomorrow I'm doing a 5K, and it's not my target race or anything. I joined a local running store running team, and about once a month we do a race anywhere between 5K to half marathon. And tomorrow's the last race of the year. It's a 5K. And since it's coming just before the start of my hard kind of Boston Marathon training, I thought it'd be fun to give myself kind of another data point and see where I am in my conditioning. Anyways, the reason I wanted to talk about this race tomorrow is that I will be running it and planning the race using this. It's a Stride power meter. As you can see, you affix it to the laces right here. Now, there are other power meters in the market. There's a popular one from a company called RunScribe. I know Garmin watches have sensors in their watch to come up with power estimates as well. I haven't tested any of those. I've used a Stride for a year, and I've been pretty happy with how consistent it is, and so that's why I use it. Now, more generally, why do I run with a power meter? Well, there's really 4 reasons for that. The first of which is that I've done extensive testing, as you can see from my other videos, and I can say that at least the Stride is as good as, or perhaps even more accurate than GPS watches in terms of pace and distance, whether you're in a wide open road or in a hilly trail, what have you. It's really, really good. The second reason I use it is that it frees me up from having to buy a running watch. I've been a Garmin customer from probably 2007-8 or so to 2018, and they're great watches. If you need a running watch, Garmin is great. I haven't tried Suunto or Polar, but I assume they're pretty good as well. But anyways, as much as I love those watches for running, I don't necessarily love those watches for the other 23 hours of a day or so when I'm not running. For that, at least today, I prefer to use the Apple Watch. And the Stride Foot Pod connects to the watch, so that means that I can do all of my running and racing and training using the Foot Pod and the Apple Watch, and I don't need the running watch anymore. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks to it, but there are mitigations to that, and I do have another video, which I'll link to, I guess down below here somewhere, that shows you how to turn the Apple Watch into a really good running watch. The third reason I use a power meter is that it's great for pacing when you're racing or doing training on hilly courses or undulating courses. And that's because it gives you the power reading, which is essentially your effort, and you can keep it consistent. Now, in the past, I've used heart rate monitors for this same kind of function of keeping constant effort. And I have to say, they do work really well as well, too. There's a couple of small things that I like a little bit more about using the power meter for measuring effort as opposed to a heart rate monitor, but I'll leave those for another day. At any rate, that's the third reason I use it. And then finally, the fourth reason is that I love all the other metrics it gives you. It's too much of a topic for this video, but these other metrics can allow you to analyze your run or race, afterwards, and give you some data as to how you might be able to improve things like not only cadence, but how quickly you lift your foot off the ground, and some other techniques that you may not be aware of, or that may start falling apart, in the second half of a long run or a race. So I really like that aspect as well. Okay, so all that said, how am I actually going to use this power meter for planning and executing my race tomorrow? Well, let's take a look at this graph. It's a simple graph. You can see on the left axis, it's pace in terms of minutes per kilometer, and the bottom axis is watts. And there's 3 dots here, so essentially 3 data points that I collected over the last 2 weeks or so. I'll go through those quickly. The first dot in the top left corner was my average pace when I did basically mile repeats, 1,600 meter repeats on the track with a 400 meter recovery. So they weren't all out 1,600 meters, typical of a kind of a VO2 type workout for 5K performance. Anyways, I ran about 343 or 344 per kilometer pace, and it was about 283 watts here. The second dot next to that was my actual 5K performance from 2 weeks ago. I ran 18 minutes, 19 seconds, which comes out to be about 338, 339 in terms of pace here. And the wattage was, I think it was 288 watts. If I look down here, average for the race. And then the final dot was a workout I did just a few days ago. It was essentially 10 by 400 meters on the track with a 200-meter recovery in between. So again, not all out, but constant effort and another really good VO2 type workout. And for that workout, I was running at about 318 watts or so, and it was right around maybe 319 or so pace per kilometer, something like that. So anyways, I just took the least squares line, as you can see right here. And so theoretically, this dotted line would plot out pace and corresponding power I would need to achieve that pace. Now, there's a lot of things you can do with a power meter and training so that you can increase your speed per watt, if you will. So this line doesn't necessarily have to be straight. There could be some undulations in it, but we'll save that for another day, okay? Let's go to the second graph, which is the same as the first, except for it's got a big blue and white dot in the middle. And this is my target time for tomorrow, 17 minutes, 58 seconds for 5K. And if you plot it, that corresponds to 293 watts. Now, I'm not actually sure I can get anywhere near this. I think I'm closer to 18 minutes, 10 seconds or 18:15 per pace, especially because only a couple weeks ago I did 18:19. But since this isn't a target race and I don't care so much if I blow up, I'm going to go for it and see how I can do. So even though 293 watts may be too much for me to hold the entire way, I'm going to try and see what happens. And theoretically, if I do hold it the entire way, I will finish at 17:58. Finally, this last table here is just the numerical representation of that least squared dotted line. So for example, if tomorrow I ran at an average 287 watts, that would correspond to an 18:20 finishing time. And then if I go down, let's say I ran out of my mind and did 300 watts average for the whole run, that would be a 17:33. I wish that's not going to happen. But anyways, you can see here for each corresponding wattage what the projected finish time will be. And there you have it, really simple. I'm going to run tomorrow at 293 watts, and if I could hold it the whole way, I should finish at 17:58. So I'm going to do the race. It's a little bit cold and rainy tomorrow, but I don't think that should affect performance that much. And we'll see how I do, and I'll report back to you guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.